Today I will show you my high gain preset in the Kemper profiling amplifier. If you have seen some of my other videos, you may have recognized that I'm most of the time using the AxeFx 3. I'm a big fan of the AxeFx in general. And back in the days, maybe in the early 2000s, I was working as a live guitar player, and I'm using mostly real amps, especially the Mesa Triaxis 290 power amp and the Mesa 4x12 cabinet mic'd with different mics like SM57 mostly. I use rack units by TC Electronics and a shitload of pedals in front of the amp. That was a very huge rack, and also it was very heavy to carry around. And it sounded kick-ass, at least if you heard the sound, the amp in the room sound of the 4x12 cabinet at loud volumes. But of course you got the mic signal for the front of the house, and that was not always consistent because it was depending on the situation, on the environment, also how you placed the microphone in front of the cabinet. And so I was always looking on the current available modeling units on the market, because they offered the ability to play direct to the front of the house. But back in the days, these were basically the Line 6 Pod XT and also the early GT series by Boss. And I couldn't get decent results with it when going direct. So I had to use my my live rack until I found the AxeFx 1. And that was the first unit where I got decent results when playing direct to the front of the house. And in fact, the results were even better than with my Triaxis 290 rig, because they were consistent. And also I had the ability to shape my sound for the in-ear monitoring. And so since then, since the AxeFx 1, I think I got mine in 2008 or 2009, I'm using exclusively the AxeFx Live, and also for recording. But of course, as with girls, you want to try out different things, and you want to have them all, especially if they are of good quality. So if you are looking on the high-end modeling products on the market, you find the Kemper is also there. So I had to get the Kemper, got the rack version here. And for those of you who are not familiar with the Kemper, it's a different concept of modeling. In the other units, especially in the AxeFx, but also in the Moe units or the Line 6 Helix, you have basically your amp models provided by the company. On the AxeFx we have 280 something currently, and you can dial in your tone in your amp model. You get a shitload of parameters, and that is something which got really good results with it. The Kemper is more or less a unit which doesn't bring amp models. The unit where you can capture the sound of another unit, and this other unit could be a real amp with a cabinet and a mic in front of the cabinet. It can also be another modeling unit. And so you create a profile, which is basically a snapshot of the other unit, and yeah, the Kemper tries to replicate the behavior and the sound of this other unit. And so basically you have to find a profile that fits your taste. And of course my favorite sound is in the AxeFx. the Atomica high amp model with a York Audio impulse response. I captured the sound with the Kemper profiler, and the result is this. And I have to say it's well, it's similar like my sound in the AxeFx, but as you can see here in the editor, so this is the Kemper editor, and here you have the effects chain that I'm currently using in this preset. I'm using some effects of the Kemper in addition to the profile. So the Kemper has also built-in effects that you can put in front of the amp. You have 4 slots here in front of the amp. And also you can put them in slots after the amp. So you have also 4 slots here for effects which are usually used after the amp. And as you can see here, I am using an equalizer. And also I'm using a green screen, which is a distortion pedal, the Kemper emulation of the tube screamer. I will turn it off now. Also I'm using a detune. Also turn it off, and I will turn off the delay. So this is the exact profile that the Kemper created from my AxeFx sound. And in this case, it sounds good to me, but I have to say it's not 100% accurate. So it's not exactly the same sound like in the AxeFx. That is something I discovered. The Kemper is not 100% accurate when profiling a sound. And in fact, there are differences which are audible through studio monitors. They're also audible maybe in a live situation, but my goal is not to replicate the exact sound. It's just my goal is to get a decent sound I can use live. So usually I'm creating a profile, and if I like it, then I keep it, and then I fine-tune it with the built-in effects in the Kemper. So in this case, I dialed back the gain a little bit. Already you have the ability to do this with a profile. So I think the original profile I got was with the gain setting like maybe 8.6 or something. But I reduced it a little bit. Instead I used the tube screamer because I like this sound more. As you can see here, you have also the ability to control bass, middle and treble and presets in the amp section. But of course, this is a Kemper built-in tone stack, so it's not behaving like the real amp, or in this case as the amp model in the AxeFx. And you have some additional parameters like clarity or bias of the tube. Also, you could play around with the pick attack, which is quite interesting. So if you raise it, then you have more of this pick attack, like you may know from Marshall amps. Maybe useful if you are a legato player. And also you have the ability to mix the sound with the direct sound coming from the amp without the cap. So what the Kemper internally does is basically he tries to figure out which part of the signal is coming from the amp and which part is done by the cabinet. And in the profile you have the ability, after you made the profile, which includes the cabinet, you can switch off the cabinet and use that what the Kemper thinks is the coming from the amp together with another cabinet or an IR. But in this case I'm using the profile I got, just with a tube screamer in front of it. And I'm using an equalizer after the amp block, which is here the parametric equalizer, where I'm dialing back the low and mids a little bit. Also I set a low cut at 96 Hz. And you have the ability in each block to set it global. You can see here these locker markers. They say that basically this effect is turned on, and also the setting is the same in each preset I'm using. So if you can see, the Kemper is basically working with performances, and each performance consists of 5 presets. As you can see here, I'm on performance 1, and I have my rhythm, lead, chorus, crunch, and crunch preset. And I'm using my Atomica high amp model profile from the AxeFx. This is my rhythm sound. Sometimes I use it with a micro pitch of the Kemper. Basically a detune effect. And on the lead preset, it's basically the same sound but just with a delay. In this case it's called the legacy delay. It's a dual delay and like a ping pong delay, switching from left to right. Sounds like this. Number 3 is my chorus preset. It's basically the sound with a micro pitch. Sounds very nice with open chords. And also the Kemper is reacting very dynamically to your playing. So I'll switch off the green screen and you can hear now. If I hit the strings very light, then sound is almost clean, and you get the distortion when you hit the strings very hard. That is something which is familiar from the AxeFx. Feels like you're playing a real amp, and also like you're playing the amp model in the AxeFx. Then I have my chorus crunch preset, which is basically the same profile, but I dialed back the gain, which is something you can do afterwards. So this is the sound of the Atomica high profile, but just with the gain dialed back. And you can see now the micro pitch is turned off. Usually it should be turned on here. Maybe I didn't save it correctly. This is a crunch preset where I'm basically using just the profile with less gain, without the tube screamer distortion. But of course, I could have done another profile from the AxeFx with an edge of breakup amp and then use it here. But in this case, I like the result of this Atomica high profile with a little bit less gain, so I kept it. Because that's basically the same frequency structure than the distorted profile. And that is something which is very useful in a live situation. Overall, I have to say that the quality, the tone quality of the amp and cabinet section in the Kemper is similar like in the AxeFx. Also, it feels similar to play. But the other effects, especially the equalizers and the distortion pedals, they're not as good as in the AxeFx. and also you have way less options you can choose from. For example, here you have all effects you can choose from. We have lots of VARs, but not the biggest torque hammer. And you can see you have only 7 distortion pedals. You got 4 boosters, some shapers, which I don't know what that is. The equalizers you have some graphic equalizers. You also do have a parametric equalizer, but the quality of the equalizers is not as good as in the AxeFx. Also, you have an acoustic simulator, which I still have to try out. You have 2 compressors, which is, well, more than one, and 2 noise gates, 7 chorus modules, 3 phasers, 2 flangers, some pitch shift things. You have many delays, and some of them are really good. So the delays are an effect that is maybe very good in the Kemper. Also, I like the legacy reverb. Of course, they have the ability to enter some external effects in the effects loop of the Kemper. But other than that, you don't have other effects that the Kemper provides. So as far as effects are concerned, maybe the AxeFx would be the better choice. So I hope you like my attempt to get the AxeFx sound with the Kemper, and I have to say, for me the AxeFx is the better way to dial in a good tone. But as far as the quality is concerned, I could get a decent live result also with the Kemper. And well, maybe I will make a more detailed video about the Kemper in the future. But if you have other experiences with Kemper or AxeFx, please post your comments in the comment section below. Other than that, hit like or subscribe, and yeah, stay healthy. See you soon. Bye.